Hello everyone, welcome back for some more Let's Play The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. We're on the second half of the first trial, because I'm sure it's going to be broken into multiple. There's no way it won't be. Oh, there you are, Odo. Oh, jumping right into the accents, man. I just got to get back into it. What kept you, my dear fellow? Oh, hello, Mr. Sholmes, Gina. Are you sure about what you said in there? The boss, actually died the day before. It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina, and this is where we reveal, guys, I have no idea. I'm just lying to try and get more time. As was I, possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes, but I was more shocked than all of you put together. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes, it's strange there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation. Or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear. If it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on, and Dr. Scythe. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zeeks discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it, you had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by their trick. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Suze, that's what it is, it's Suze. And it was me what took him in. Thanks to the tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed. Yours truly. It's gonna be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? I sure hope I remember their voices. Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the inspector have been investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. Are we joking about a dead man right now? Don't tar him with the same brush as you are, Sholmes. Almost called him Holmes. Oh, that would have been a lawsuit. Yes, well. Whoa. Buddy. Yes, well. And there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zeeks for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zeeks, and Cosma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over very shortly. Yeah, you're right. Cosima was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial, and he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. I have a feeling that this trial is the first part of the end, really. It's going to be like the next trial I feel is going to be a bleed over, even though this is already kind of a bleed over from last time. Are you ready then, Miss Sasato? Yes. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say? Normally you're quite more verbose. Okay. Guess that's that. 1 p.m. We had lunch break. The Old Bailey courtroom. Ever since I watched Wooly's Let's Play of Ace Attorney, all I can think about is the idea of the judge being like, well, we have to schedule a time round to eat, right? Because, yeah, like, that is a huge thing. I never even considered that.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Baroque Van Zeeks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Osogi.
My lord?
Have you summoned the witnesses as requested?
Yes. The 2 members of the Red-Headed League who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage.
Very good. Bailiff, usher the 2 men into the courtroom.
Oh boy. That's a lot of paschetti. He do be slurping. These 2 men are currently being held by the police on a suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. I am Fabien de Rousseau. Rousseau? Like Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau? That's an interesting choice. I wonder. A descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice, en France. Okay, Peppino, it's a little Peppino! And my name is Peppino de Rossi. Oh, I forgot that they had the accents. I am the 3rd son of the great Familia de Rossi, the landowners from Napoli. The 2 men... I'm sorry. Did he just do a Mario? Did he just do a Mario? Huh. Okay. The 2 men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Oh my god, they were roommates. Those who graduate from Temesc are the future leaders of Europe. Oh god, no, now it's becoming German. Okay, French, right? It's a French accent. No, frick. How do I do this? Ah, it's dying. But, do you have any idea how boring it is to be born vis noble blood? Hello. I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little grey cells of my brain. That is all I'm trying to do, huh? So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out? How old are they? Do we got ages? No way. You also have a red neck. Huh. Fraudster derives from French aristocracy. Lackey of de Rousseau and conspirator, the 3rd son of a great Italian landowner. You are Mario. Oui, you could say that. Not bad, eh? He has the grand ideals, but the petty plans. This strange combination. Okay, no, that's a Mario. Oh my god, he has a Mario hat. You are a Mario. Oh! Oh my god, are you Mario and Luigi? But like a different Mario and Luigi from the Mario and Luigi we had before. That's very strange. This strange combination is the charm of the hilarious brothers. See, Capo? French Luigi. Listen to me. Oh, wait. Listen to me, Peppino. I have 2 things to say to you. Okay, I gotta do French. Gotta remember. Che? Are you about to tell one of your grand anecdotes? Viva! Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this Capo. And secondly, we are not the hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Che bello, there it is, the Capo's trump card, the furrow the brow. It is deeper, Capo, the furrow and the meaning of your words.
The court has been led to believe that, under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Was that true?
Oui, c'est ça.
But what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud?
Alors, I will explain it. No, Capo, leave it to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair, no? At the school we were taste for this without a pity. The Capo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse, crying like the Trevi fountain. Way, those dogs. One day the world will respect us redheads. Every night he would burrow his head in his pillow and we'd put him. C'est bien, Peppino. Enough. I will explain the rest. The first step was a newspaper advertisement. About 1 week. See, I'm slipping into German. It's tough to stay. I think what I'll do is I'll just stick with a more neutral, less accent, and just put in the affectation of this of what we're seeing, right? About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. It was this one, I believe, entitled To the Red-Headed League. Oui, c'est ça. I'm honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the League is having flame-colored hair. That if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the League, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement, and from each person present, the pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. Oh my god. This is a literal pyramid scheme. And with the money to France. It was a most elegant plan, no? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one witness as choked with red-headed folk. Choked, you say, huh? Like a coster's orange barrel. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these 2 men spoke face-to-face with every single person present that day. Oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life. See, and now every time I see the couple's hair, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph.
Very good. So, Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi.
DeRusso and DeRossi. Are those different words that mean red? Because de means of.
You will now give your formal testimony for the court about the subject of this gentleman pictured in this photograph.
Of course. We are always ready to help with this law. Okay. Man, the photograph. We had... oh god, I'm trying my best, but for some reason, French has left my mind, and all I'm giving him is the same German accent. Can I just say, all these European accents, they're muddling my damn brain. I feel like I'm going crazy. We had more than one... See... French. A French accent. We had... No, because it's... But he's hoity-toity, right? So I can't do Quebec, you know? We had more than 1,000 red-headed... Yeah, sure, okay, good enough. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime streets that day. No, it's just German! Oh my god, I can't do this right now. Whatever, I don't care. DeRossi, you'll never make me mad, but I don't recall this man in this photograph, capo? No, I don't remember him. Obviously, he is dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park. Allora, this victim has nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oui, I'm quite certain. We did not interview this man. Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise.
It must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has little confidence in your assurances.
Oh, Pfft. With this attitude, we get nowhere, huh? He's really a sulkin now. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Red-Headed League, undercover. Ah, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, eh? That is ridiculous. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, which means it's quite possible that's when he was killed.
Very well. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination now.
Yes, my lord. What the frick do we work off of? Well, we push and we see what we can do, huh? Okay. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on the... Okay. 1,000 people. That's a very big crowd. It was quite a spectacle. Red Eds had come from all over the capital. See, the capo here, he has the most magnetismo animale, eh? Nobody else could attract so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the capo. All those people wanted was the money, Peppino. The £4 per week.
Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with about 1,000 applicants?
Oui, that we did. Because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We took their names, and we took their money, and we took their addresses as well. And then I tell them we take us some days to let them know by a post, finito. Maybe 2 minuti a person. We start early in the morning. Buddy, I want you to wipe your damn face. We start early in the morning, and we stop late in the night. So you earned 5,000 shillings in one day. That's a small fortune. Who would have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair. But I don't recall the man in this photograph, are you, couple? He doesn't look all that familiar? At all familiar? No, I don't think so. And this is a wig guy. He was trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people, says the con artist. And between them, they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair. It would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, signore. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park. He's not going to give the court a definite, it seems. Hey, Capo, you didn't see a man like this, huh? No, I don't remember him. And obviously, he is dead now. But I assure you, Eve was not in the park. But according to what you said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day. Oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? Normally, the red hair is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around, then it is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could give us, maybe then we could recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, If there was a man with a red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match the color, then I do not think I could have forgotten him. Cosma said these two have only been shown that photograph and they've been told nothing else at all. But what if I just fed them one other detail about the victim? For example, his fish and chips. I can certainly appreciate them knowing that the man... what are we saying? I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But what if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? You remember a man who was eating incessantly? Not really. I was looking only at the heads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips anymore than the caviar and smoked salmon. Or a spaghetti! Me, I love the spaghetti! I feel like I'm committing hate crimes. Really, I had no idea. Tell us again what you said before, Peppino. Si, Capo, si! I say it again and again! His name is Peppino. Allora, the victim has nothing to do with us! The red hair. But we only have your word for that. Si! But what else can we do, huh? True. Oofa! We are not having much of fun these days. First we are arrested, and then we are shown the horrible picture of a dead man. And now you question every single thing we say. We are the victims here. Aye, Capo? No, you were caught carrying out a plot to swindle hundreds of innocent people. Oh, you had to bring that up, eh? It's not fair. Aye, Capo? You will not answer to, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. Okay. What do you mean by that? Cavallo, you promised not to say, eh, Capo? After we had taken all the money that day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of the tickets for the ferry to Dunkirk. Oh, Dunkirk. Dunkirk. Is that how it's done in French? To my companion here. But he bought them for the wrong day. Oops. See, but it's an easy mistake to make, huh? The 31st. Boof. I have no sympathy for you. We were an all day late for the boat because of your stupidity. It's only because of this that so-called great red-headed detective caught us. Capo, you know what I think? This is the work of a god. It is holy punishment, eh? Peppino is now Catholic. Peppino, for the last time, this is not only punishment. This is only your fault. That's pretty freaking funny. Aye. Don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You're making me sick with anger. Maybe I make a mistake, but when it is time to eat the pasta, no one is the faster. Let's see the evidence. Oh my god. Peppino, my little guy. I can't believe we got a Mario little guy. Like, we got a Mario and Luigi pair in both games, huh? That's wild. They haven't told us much we didn't already know. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, if it was in the inspector's diary, it seems likely he must have gone to Lime Street that day. And yet these two both claim they didn't see him. I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies. Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Sounding plausible is their specialty. They may be lying simply to avoid being implicated in this case as well. Surely if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught. Well, yeah, you do have a point there. Seems to me like we need more information. Definitely. Okay, let's see here. Wasn't it? He's dead. Victim has nothing to do with us. This is the one I think is important. Right? The red hairpiece. There's a red-headed league thing there. Right? I'm gonna say, because we do want to do, right? The red-headed league seems somewhat suspicious in nature. Doesn't say anything. I mean, there isn't it this? Doesn't it say on it? Red-headed league. Yeah, okay. That is on there, right? Now, there's a chance they'll be like, well, no, this is just on his board. That doesn't have anything to do with him. So they might not be this one, but I'm going to present this one. Right? To say, like, no, he was... Objection! No, okay, that's not it. Okay, the witness's last statement is stupid. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's see here. The victim has nothing to do with us. And then we got this guy who we still gotta deal with. Letter of introduction, dismissal, photograph, candle. Belong to Gregson. Autopsy report, bullet at close range. Scorch marks. Curled up with the red hair on there. Oh wait, what if we were to do... Right, they said to get more information, right? So what if we do something instead of the fish and chips, right? I did that one as kind of a joke, but... Let's try the other ones here. Let's do his name. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing if the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. What if I told you that the man's name was Gregson? The man in the photograph is a Monsieur Gregson. Yes. Names, they are boring. I did not listen to any of them. Oh. It was not a real interviewer. It was just for show. Why would I remember the names? That's right. This changes nothing. The man in the photograph was not there, as we have already said. I see.
It seems like little to be gained from pursuing this point further.
Okay. Right, now we're back to... Say it again and again. Okay, yeah, it's the same now. Okay. So... Profession? Okay. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. What if I told you that the man in the red hair piece was actually a detective? The man in the photograph, a detective? Yes. It would appear he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Sorry, but this changes nothing. Oh!
Excuse me.
You got some to say, little guy? Something to add, Mr. DeRossi? Che, si! I am always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. Well, what I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? You're gonna put a little bit of basil in there too. What did he just say about the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am an inspector from Scotland Yard. What?
Good lord!
He's so small.
Order! Order!
Whoa, I've never heard that phrase before.
Explain this volte-face in your testimony, witness.
It's simple. A man who was at the park said to us, there was no such man. What did he say? He said that he was an inspector, Cap. My die! What are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten I've forgotten nothing. Nobody like this came to the park. Basta, Capo, basta! You beat me at many things, but not two. The memory and the meals. Like I said, when is it time to eat the pasta? No one is the faster. But you are inferior to me in every other way, so shut up.
Objection.
Yo, both of us? Todd, the damage is done. You can't say that, dude. It's the current year.
Indeed it is, sir.
There was a man who came to the park and he said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else. How can you be so sure? Because to Sattvis, his face was completely different. See, is true. The man who came was a younger. His face was a cleaner shaven, his eyes were sadder, his chin was a thinner.
No resemblance whatsoever, then.
Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you're really a detective, show us the proof. See, the capo here, he doesn't take a no-nonsense, eh? But he was well prepared. He said he had identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification?
That is most unconvincing.
I'm sorry, my lord.
Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question.
But I was told if you ask someone if they're an undercover police officer, they have to tell you they're one. That's definitely not super fake and spread around so that people can think they use that, but it's super not true. Definitely. Modi exposed his true identity. Clearly the papers were fake. Certo, capo! You are a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? It became very annoying. He said you are under investigation. So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastico! And look, here is the identification! Oh, you stole it from the man. He added a coming. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was.
Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe we prudent for the identification papers to be mentioned in evidence.
But I like them. We're immediately looking at this.
Now, let us return to the witness's testimony.
Not yet. I need to look at paper. Metropolitan Police warrant card. It was just a warrant card? Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like inside. Okay, well, there's no picture. Yeah, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? This Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me. But how? And the department identification number details are correct as well. Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say... I know it seems incredible, but yes, I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. That's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all. Okay. Huh. Damn. Didn't expect that. Okay. But it sounds like it was Sholmes there with the card. This victim is nothing to do with us. Okay, well, I think we just present it now to be like, yeah, no, he was, that was his, right?
Objection!
Yeah, okay. I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade. Why Miss Lestrade?
What is your intention here, counsel?
Is this really a fake, or is it genuine? That's the question which we can't answer ourselves.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. You don't have a voice line. That is the boss's. No question about it. It can't be. As I suspected. The undercover detective who attended the Red-Haired League's enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation. Zutalo!
Order!
But if the boss was had his identification stolen, I would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on me about it. If you lose something, report it at once, he said. Could it be then that the inspector was physically unable to report it? Physically, eh? What are you saying? Unable to. You're not suggesting. Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had a chance to report his identification stolen. No.
Order, order, order!
The defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? Way! I know nothing! Way! I done nothing! Way! Pull yourself together, Peppino. Mon Dieu, you can behave a little more like a master criminal. More like a master criminal than that, no? Way! Now wish I had returned to Italia! Way! Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, I... Lummy, stop your whining and start talking.
Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story in considerably greater detail.
I know nothing. I know nothing. But you will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome.
You will dry your tears and testify again about these identification papers and the precise circumstances in which you came by them.
For crying out loud, get it? Because they're crying out loud. Oh my god, are we gonna do this while they're crying? This is gonna be the worst. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him in the night at our secret hideout. Oh my god, okay. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day just in case. We took the man's identification from him and then shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nicer room. It was nothing like a prison, really. Where? Okay.
This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man.
But no, see, no. It was not like a prison. He was a very comfortable and a calm and a happy. Aye, Capo? It was never part of my plan, I swear it. Uffa, so do you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the ferry wrong by one little day. I do not think it was your fault, Peppino. I know it. No. Per favore, Capo, is not fair.
You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen.
I don't believe this. How could... so many apostrophes. How could he have been a real detective?
Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
On the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this pair's hideout. Huh. Okay. Why is your neck red, buddy? I noticed that it's down now, but it's very obvious in the thing, so... Do you realize what you're saying? You have to believe me, I never intended for that to happen. And I'm sure the detective did not intend it either. Do you think? But there was nothing else I could do. See, nothing else. There wasn't the first crime. This wasn't the first crime for the capo. He was at his wit's end. I've told you before, Peppino, that way to describe a criminal mastermind. What about this hideout of yours? An old empty house behind the Park on Lime Street. We rented the place for 2 days. It was an inspired idea by the capo here.
An impulsive idea, I must say.
No, not impulsive. Inspired, I capo. What am I supposed to say to that, Peppino? It was in the house described that you can find Inspector Gregson, was it? But you have to remember, I was under the impression that he was a pretender, not a real inspector. Sorry, the word pretender there got me, a Fate fan, excited. It doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there? No, you are right. But we couldn't be completely certain. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. Okay, tell me more. Too scared? Why? Because... why had he come to the park? We didn't know. There was a chance that he had seen through my plan. And if that wasn't the case, he would go straight to the police station to blow the whistle on us. Even if he was just feigning to be an inspector, he was up to no good, without a doubt. I think most people would agree that it's you two who are up to no good. Well, see, you may be right. Aye, Capo? The point is, we were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why we had no choice but to take the man prisoner. What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show you his identification in the first place. See, I ask myself the same question. We were writing down the names and addresses of all of the people who he took 5 shillings from that day. I've forgotten whose name he said, but the address, it startled me. See, address, Scotland Yard, Homicide Division, he said. What? He probably didn't like your face, Peppino. Anyway, I was not rude. I just politely asked him. See, if you didn't look at the picture, you would just think that just the shading on the bottom of his neck, but no, that is red. Anyway, I was not rude. I politely asked him why he had said it. And that's when he started to say he was an inspector. Not long afterwards, he took out his identification. What was Inspector Gregson playing at? Tell the court what happened next. You took him back to your hideout, you say. See, we did. We took the man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. That being this identification book here, correct? See, that is the one.
What made you believe that it was a forgery?
I never seen a real one, of course. But he was so suspicious, this man. Allora, I was thinking, it must be falso, eh, Capo? Oui, it is just as Peppino has said. We were convinced it was not genuine. And so together, the Herr Larry's brothers, we took the man captive. All we did was shove him inside a locked room. Then we made preparations to transport all of the money. In for a penny, in for a pound. Oh my god, in for a penny, in for a pound. That was British things, and not like money and then wait. Oh, shoot. I never put that together till now. Thanks, Britain. Might have been a little tussle we didn't know. Did him no harm.
Hold it!
I have evidence against that. What do you mean by a little tussle exactly? Both. It was nothing, just a minor incident. The falso inspector, he was a real piece of work, eh, Capo? What happened? Uffa, it was a disaster. We gave him a nicer room, and what does he do? In the middle of the night, he tries to escape through the ventilatore. Can you blame him? We chased him, bien sir, and we caught him again. Can you blame us? Wait, you didn't shoot the man in your haste, did you? Zoot! Who do you think we are? Of course not. We're not Americans. I simply caught hold of him again and took him back to the room. You have a baby voice.
Excuse me.
You have a baby man voice. Mr. De Rossi. Something wrong? Me? Something Mr. De Rousseau just said seemed to make you, Well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was that all about? Cavallo, at times like that, you don't want to have the capo after you, believe me. And I speak from a personal experience, huh? Personal experience? Is that just enough, Pepinos? There's no need to say more. The truth is, the night before we put the Red-Headed League plan into action, I was scared. It was not affected the capo, but I tried to run away. It's a shame you didn't manage it. But then the capo here, he came after me like the turbine, huh? And he dragged me back into the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruises to prove it, eh, capo?
Bruises, you say?
Ah, you wanna see, huh? You wanna see my fantastical bruises? That's enough now, Peppino. No one wants to look at any part of you. What to do, huh? I show you, or I don't. I show you, or I don't. You do, now. Allora, if everybody wants to see that I do it. Ecco, you see? Is still very visible, eh? That red ring around your neck? You got that when you were dragged back to the house? See, the capo, sometimes he's a very rough, and I said that's enough. Peppino's neck is nothing to do with what we are talking about here. You have my word.
Yes. What is your opinion, Counsel?
About this red ring around Mr. De Rossi's neck? I wonder, does it matter? It's important. Mr. De Rossi, I'm gonna have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about that mark on your neck. Ay, capo, you see? Everyone is interested in what I say, huh? Ugh.
Very well, you will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. De Rossi.
See, if you really want to know. He tried to escape, but the capo put the collar back on him and dragged him back. Like what he did to me, see? Okay, so... There's nothing on his neck. Has a very visible neck. So I think you actually had Sholmes. I do. We're gonna skip this for now. He spent the night in the nicer room. It was not like the prison way. Okay. He took away the man's freedom. However comfortable you make it sound, you're still holding him prisoner. If you say that, then I say this. There is something that takes away our freedom too. The lack of money. So we are prisoners as well, all of us. Huh? No money, no freedom. That is the truth. It makes me mad. It makes me sad. What can we do? Well, if you feel so disenfranchised, take money to court. It will cost you, of course. Oof! There you have it. You see, that is why we need the Red Hair League to fight for justice. Perhaps he has a point. No, Mr. Naruhodo. All we did was give the man a comfortable space to sleep for the night. And you say it was a prison, huh? Perhaps he has a point again. No, again, Mr. Naruhodo. You should have heard them snoring, mud, die. If anyone was disturbed, it was us. Okay, not much to go on, really. This one does make me wonder, about this pocket watch belonging to the inspector. I mean, okay. How does that relate to it? Okay, the one he treasures. He was confined but not restrained, as the witnesses are implying. He would still have been able to wind it. Yeah, it's very true. Did Inspector Gregson actually die while being held captive? I don't think so. I think this was all done to... I think this was all done to Sholmes. In which case, is it possible that these two young men are responsible for Inspector Gregson's... To be honest, I find that hard to believe. Perhaps we should try to find out exactly what happened. Yeah. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo, yes. I think I know exactly where we're going to go with this. So let's first off... He's so happy.
Hold it!
Are you saying that red mark was caused by... See, a big collar made from the leather. Kinky. A leather collar. Is this true, Mr. DeRusso? What? We had a Saint Bernard at home when I was younger. It was a souvenir from that time, viz. A very strong chain. A strong chain. And you put that around your friend's neck. I'm sorry. I was so angry that he was leaving me alone. You did not have to tie the chain to the leg of the bed, though, huh? I would not have tried to run again. You didn't do that to Inspector Gregson as well, did you? Treated the people equally, is the capo's motto, eh? It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison all of a sudden. The capos are tough, but the capos are rough. I shouldn't have done it. So, the following morning, when you released the inspector, he had the red ring around his neck, just like me. Peppino, s'il vous plaît, leave it now. Now you know, the capoeir, you don't want to tangle with him, eh? But for the inspector, he's not so bad. I know exactly where we're going with this. Oh, no, I pressed the button. Okay, not much to go on. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I know exactly what to do. So we'll do that. We'll do that. So, I'm gonna save, but I'm 99% sure this is what we do. But save just in case. So, present the photo.
Objection.
Hey. So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not that. It was hardly a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was only. However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains.
What inconsistency is this, Counsel?
I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see there's no red ring visible around his neck. But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning, and I saw the red bruises on his neck, just like I have. Even though the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim who's put in the collar more recently than Mr. De Rossi.
But indeed, that is most peculiar.
But what do we tell you, We say this from the beginning many times, where? Peppino was right. The man in the photograph is someone different to the man we held captives at night.
Order.
It would appear then that on the day before. Well, that's not your voice. I was thinking of Sholmes for some reason. It would appear then that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing as an incognito inspector was not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection.
If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution made that assertion itself. And we also know that the inspector had made note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day, which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely.
The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation.
Equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification?
Does the defense have some plausible explanation, Counsel?
The whole thing defies explanation. It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Mr. Naruhodo. Because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie. Meet up, red-haired gentleman, the thing, note to Mictoba, reprimand, nothing to do with this, nothing, I mean, that is something to go off of, technically, right? Load up every day, card. We'll have to see here. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who Wait. What if it's not... No. The true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe.
Good gracious.
Oh, wait, no, wait. I know exactly what we're gonna do. Never mind. I know exactly what we're gonna do. No, the person who had the thing around his neck. Yeah, it was you. Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is that you've apparently seen? Who exactly was this inspector that appeared before Mr. It was an imposter. We know who. Yeah, no, I do see where we're going. It seems incredible, I admit. The undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who saw these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection.
No! On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck. So the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man on the park in Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's right. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged him from a pillar to a post with a dog collar. Mon Dieu, Peppino. I was not so harsh as you say, huh? So who was this falso inspector, eh? Who was he? Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. I'm making him turn into his guy. Whoops. I'm turning him into Van Zeeks. About the true identity of the man these two imprisoned that night.
I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post-haste. Who did the witness encounter in the park posing as Inspector Gregson?
Take that!
Yeah.
Goodness me. Is it that the fellow with the disgusting lip?
One of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passers-by. What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses, is this the man or not? What has happened to his lip? It's not natural? Ah. See, this man is not for the Red-Headed League, eh? He's looking for the Twisted Lip League, no? Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noted something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. What if it is a fake lip? What if it can pop?
Order, bailiff! Bring the aforementioned witness back to the courtroom immediately.
Can we just put the red wig on him and see?
Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed, and identical to the one of the witness beside him.
Now what's going on here, eh? What was that, this, me? It's a birthmark, isn't it? A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you. Somehow about an inspector again. What I'm telling you, you got all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it? Well, of course I am. Well, you're trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? Well, at least you'll have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're gonna need you to testify again. And you, Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Do we have any other choice?
We're in a big trouble, eh, Capo?
That's quite enough.
Dilatory? Dilatory? That's not a word. Does that mean like to delay? Dilatory? I don't know.
Proceed with the testimony.
Funny enough, my own dilatory chatter is getting in the way. Right? It's ironic, baby. The inspector and the identification are visited. The man who claimed to be an inspector that day was definitely not this man.
Is it right to see? You think we gonna forget these grand lips, huh?
I never leave Fresno Street, all right. I've no interest in any red-headed league. I'm all alone in the world, me. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I carry off a disguise with a face like this? What if that is a disguise, sir?
It would certainly appear that we have the wrong man.
What have I been telling you, there was no need for this pointless testimony. Ugh. That's right, I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I have come by an police inspector's identification book, huh? Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but...
A brief cross-examination, I think, counsel. Very brief.
Is there anyone else in this courtroom who thinks I might be onto something? I stand steadfastly at your side as always, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay. I didn't see any immediate things here for it, so we'll have to probably press it out. The man who claims he was an inspector that day was definitely not this man, okay? So you say, but how can you be quite certain? There's no need to hurt your hands on the desk, monsieur. Surely the reason is obvious, no? Because I've never before seen lips like this. Nevertheless, there's a clear red mark around Mr. Gossip's neck. It looks very much like that left behind on the neck of your colleague by your prized collar. Mon Dieu, with your words, it is like you are trying to wring my neck.
It doesn't look very much like my neck, though, eh?
No, it's a birthmark, lad. The biggest lips in London and a neck to die for. Aye, they broke the mold when they made me. It was the first time in my life. I feel lucky to have been born with this red hair. And I thought being Japanese made you stand out in London. You maintain that you've never seen this man before? Oui, c'est ça. I swear to it by the flames of my hair. So fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair now, has it? Okay.
Oh, is it right to see? You think we would forget these grand lips, huh?
Well, yes. I don't imagine I'll forget these lips in a hurry either.
That is what I am saying. For some reason, it makes me want to eat, how do you, Fabienne, call it? An eclair.
Gross.
You know, I've never seen a hair as black as yours either.
Likewise, I'd never seen red hair like yours until I came to Britain.
See, maybe it is a nationality trait, huh? Maybe I'll let the people from this man's country have the grand lips.
I'm gonna be real. This whole time, I've been very much like, I feel very uncomfortable with this train of thought, because if you know the history of Japan with big lips,
Right, let's maybe... All I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if in Japan this character had a very different skin tone. Which itself would be a problem, but also very Japan. No, lad, I was born right here on Fresno Street, and I've never left.
Oofa, that is the problem, see?
So you definitely didn't go to the park on Lime Street that day, Mr. Gossip? Now, how many times do you want me to say it, eh? I never leave Fresno Street, all right? I've no interest in any red-headed league. So, you'd heard of the Red-Headed League, have you? Oh, you don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, eh? It's my business to know what's going off in town. I saw that tasty tidbit to a fair few redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got Sandwich caught up to cough up for it. Well, he does have a very red nose if that counts. Who knows? But as you can see, my own hair's not got a hint of red in it. In any case, Fresno Street's my patch. You won't catch me saddling off to some other part of town.
Oh, what accent's this going to?
No, sir, not
Excuse me.
likely.
Well, what's up? Mr. DeRusso. Can I help you? Did Mr. Gossip's word just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park, a small house or something. Maybe the headquarters of your red-headed league, yes. I visited an housing agent on Lime Street, and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent.
What?
Mr. Gossip with a housing agent? He had some kind of contract in his hand, and they were very clearly discussing terms.
But, no, you're mistaken, chum. I've never let Fresno Street, man. Like I said before, you've mistaken me for someone else, someone with the same face.
No, the capo is right. I remember it too. He was paying the man with the banknotes. With notes?
Like I said, that wasn't me.
I was curious why this man with the dirty clothes had so much money, so I looked at the name on the papers. And what name was written? Mr. Gossip. No, this man, he lies. He tells you that he has no name, but in fact his name is Hugh Boon. He's better than Mr. Gossip, I think. See? Oh my god.
No!
Oh my god, his name is Hugh Boon. I'm a peddler of tidbits of information, like I said, on Fresno Street. And that's all. I don't like folk talking about my personal life.
Indeed. But it is not the intention of the court to invade the privacy of witnesses. Very well, I shall respect your wishes.
I'm sorry. I feel like you can't go to court and be like, I'm not going to give you my name. I don't think you can do that.
The aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court records of this trial. Assuming no objections.
Yeah, no, a big objection. I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has a very deep significance to this case.
Oh, good gracious, do you similarly object, Prosecution Sogi?
As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings.
Well, I never. What capacity?
Hugh Boon, name of the leaseholder of the room. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you start talking.
Well, all right. I suppose that might be the case, aye?
So your real name is Hugh Boon? I'm trying to figure out how lip is in there.
Well, just between us, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but there's no finer peddler of titbits in town. So I happen to afford a grubby little room in a fallen down backstreet townhouse.
You do?
And once every 6 months, I go and pay the rent to the agent on Lime Street. I remember now there was 2 vulgar redheads in there last time.
Aye, if either of us is a vulgar, it's not a me. Sing again, Peppino. Why didn't you bring this up before?
Like I told you already, I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tit-bit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss.
You will update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation, Mr. Boon.
We find most.
The leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for since the body was discovered has been here under our noses all along. Has he updated his name fully? Yeah. Oh, I rent the room where the fellow was found. It's true for what difference that makes. Okay. I'm all alone in the world, me. I've got no kinfolk or nothing. Okay. No family at all? What? Liberty dude. You mean you have no family? No, none at all. So I spend my days on Fresno Street peddling tidbits to passers-by. Hoping, just between us this is, that eventually someone with lips like mine will come along. And then we can lock those lips together, and it'll make the sound like a thick woman walking, just disgusting. I know the thing is so. You may be right. Anyway, let's ignore this. That mark on your neck is just too much of a coincidence for us to ignore. Well, what's a fella to do then, eh? Don't believe me, we're at an impasse. And there's nothing I can do but flip me lip. Please don't. It's not going to get anywhere here unless I can produce some proof. Basically saying I got dressed up and posed as a fancy inspector, aren't you? Well, it's beyond me how you think I could do that. Okay. Just look at me, eh? Doesn't look like I could carry off a disguise with a face like this. Tell me more. Maybe you could, say, with a mustache or a beard to cover that lip. Aye, perhaps. What if I was going to stick some fake facial hair on to cover up this fine specimen? I'd end up looking like his lordship over there, wouldn't I?
But pardon, but I assure you my lips are entirely unremarkable. I'll not ask you to cast such scrutinizing looks in my direction, counsel.
Sorry, my lord. My imagination got the better of me there. Well, Inspector Gregson did wear a mustache, of course. You make it sound like it comes off. You're right, he did. So perhaps he was hiding something to himself, or he was hiding something to himself. He could barely have hidden a crumb in a mustache of that size. Anyways, the detective we spoke with had no facial hair at all. See, the capo is alright. He was a cleaner shaven.
It certainly seems beyond the realms of possibility that the witness could have disguised himself as the victim.
Aye, and it does and it is. Okay, that's all the extent of their testimony, is it? What's your feeling, Mr. Naruhodo? What about Mr. Boon? What Mr. Boon says is undeniable. It would have been all but impossible to hide those lips with any form of disguise. Perhaps yes, but nevertheless, the mark around his neck is equally undeniable, and it's identical to the one that Mr. De Rossi suffered. Yeah, it's true. But why does this whole disguise idea just keep playing on my mind? Okay, so let's try and grab some more stuff here. I feel like he'll give us evidence or something. So, you live in that room, presumably, do you? No, I don't live there. What do you think? There's no bed, is there? Just a desk? Then why would you want to rent it? Well, I don't think I should have to say, really. Then what about the notice board in there? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have access to. Oh no, that board's not mine. The inspector must have brought it along. It's only other bits and bobs that belong to me, the desk and the chair and that. People don't generally carry enormous notice boards around with them. But I do not now, Beppo. The real question is, why was Inspector Gregson killed there in your room? Well, obviously, I've not the faintest idea. Well, I mean, it's causing me no end of bother, to be honest. Seems to me that Mr. Mr. Boon, would rather as little is known about his room as possible for some reason. Yeah, it does come across that way. And more importantly, knowing that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me. I'm finally gonna undo this man. Let's see. Which one? I'm all alone, I've got no kinfolk. Wait. All alone? All alone? You're all alone. Then what's with this?
Objection.
If you have no kinfolk, as you put it,
Then explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings, we found this photograph in the room. Wait a sec. Oh my god, hold up. His hair. Oh my god. Ugh. Open his eyes. Reduce his nose. Fix his lip. No way. I presume, as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not?
Oh, well.
Mr. Boon, drop the pretense and tell the court exactly who you really are.
Oh, I don't know what you mean. I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You don't need to bother with me. Just leave it alone.
As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson. How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmistakable features. But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean?
Yes, counsel. What do you mean?
He got the wounds afterwards. Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boon's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip itself is part of an elaborate disguise. Oh? Then hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boon?
Good witness! Are you still hiding the truth from this court?
If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be. Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he really could be. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boon's true identity to the court.
No, please, no. Very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name Gossip on the Street?
That's right. It is none other
Then Iris Wilson, age 10.
Just kidding. It's Daily Vigil, apparently. Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil.
I don't recall that name, counsel. Who's this Mr. Vigil?
It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact. This is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the two red-headed League men. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial, because we've been led to believe that there are more instruments in now. I feel like there's more instruments added than normal. Because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence. Now, just hold on a minute. I don't have the first idea what I'm talking about. Really? It's a simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off that disguise.
No, please. Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a wash bowl at once. We're gonna make this boy very moist. Oh my god, he's 40 years old.
Wait. They actually have different listed ages? 40.
Wait, was he removed from here?
No, it's question marks. Okay. Oh my god, now that it's side by side. Oh my god. Well, his eyebrows do look... They did a pretty good job hiding it.
Mr. Russo, Mr. DeRosa, you will restrain the witness.
Oui, my lord. Si, my lord. Whoa. No. Stop. Get off. Don't. Show your handsome face. Oh, oh, thank God it's fake. Oh my God, dude. You have no idea how happy I am that that's the fake. You have no idea. I thought that you were the ugliest dude in the Ace Attorney universe. You're so lucky. Also, you have an actual model. That's crazy. They hid that from us on purpose. That's really good.
Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume.
Did they change his outfit too? Oh my God. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face.
It would appear the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. This has all been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell the court, have you seen this man before?
I don't believe it, but... See, there is no question. This is the inspector we saw in the park.
Extraordinary.
On the day of the Red-Headed League's enrollment, the man claimed to be Inspector Gregson who appeared before Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi in the park. Was you disguised as the inspector? Or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all? Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison.
The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why, you would quite possibly have become the future governor of the prison. What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street?
A tidbit, sir.
I don't care.
Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years? Do you just not speak now? No, I'm really dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true. I am Daily Vigil. And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So, where did Mr. Hugh Boon come from? Boon is the other me. It's a name I invented.
Well, evidently there's a great deal under the surface here.
I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment as Barclay's chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. But times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you're the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boon, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. Scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. Good art. A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler, and transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily vigil. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room. But that explains it. But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place?
I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons.
That's interesting.
And without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them.
So instead you decided to conceal your occupation from them.
Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything.
Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison.
Very true. To have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment.
That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson.
What? Inspector Greg? What on earth?
It was some years after I'd invented Boon and begun my other life as a street seller. The inspector, that is, recognized me one day.
Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours?
I knew him from my time working at the prison. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Then one day...
What was that pose, buddy?
He asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him.
A secret? Wait, what was it?
I was to impersonate the inspector.
What? Impersonate him?
We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me.
Visit Orsi's tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietress.
It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially.
A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquished his identification to your care with intent to deceive. That, as I'm sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offense.
But why? What was the point of you impersonating him?
I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions.
Now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if, well, I end up as a croaker. Oh, wow. He knew he was gonna maybe die. I hope he doesn't. I hope he's not actually dead.
In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him.
So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really...
Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boon disguise, and then went as instructed the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away.
Damn, okay. I feel like there's a lot more to figure out now. Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. That is kind of true.
Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asogi.
My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered, at the hands of these two red-headed League men.
when they imprisoned the inspector.
Oh, little baby Slap! Little baby Slap! Oh. But no, that can't be. Oh. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day, it was me.
Oh, goodness. Finally, we have clarity. That's not the voice. Whatever, I've given up on him. This dude's voice is vague European. Let's just go with that. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector. And merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it. What? That is kind of true. What did we do?
Order, order, order. Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. The witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim, as proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination.
That's not good.
Hold it!
Oh? Wait. Kazuma? Okay. Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma?
What question, counsel?
It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time.
10 years ago.
The execution of the professor, Kenshin Asogi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was.
Oh,
Answer me, man.
One moment, counsel. Is this related to the current case?
Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked.
Does the defense concur, counsel?
Well, yeah, we got the board with all the stuff, right? Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual. Poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asogi's last moments. His own father. I know. I do understand that, but even so... Prosecutor Asogi. Do you genuinely believe this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me. Please. Very well. And the defense has no objection.
I see. In that case, you will answer the question, witness.
the truth is, I remember very little of that time.
You've forgotten?
I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy.
Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? Well, 10 years is a long time, but to have forgotten the reason why he left such an important job... Yeah, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily, which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection.
Sorry, the human spirit. I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean.
When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed.
But I really don't.
Kazuma-sama. But if it must be crushed, then so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out, one way or another. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth at any cost.
Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? Yeah, freaking do it. Why not? We said to trust him. I'll trust him. I have no idea how this is going to go, but this is a court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events. Frickin', which one do we do? Dismissal notice, right? Clause redundancy. Is this one, right? Harsh reprimand? Right? Jailbreak? Yeah. Is this one? We have it. Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago.
Oh, well, yes.
In other words, you claim to have left the post of chief warder of your own volition.
Well, yes, of course. Why?
Tell me, do you remember seeing this document before?
No. No, I don't.
This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice? And the name on the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil.
What? Oh, it's mine.
So you didn't resign from the prison service at all. For some reason, you were dismissed as chief warder from Barclay.
No, there's been some mistake. I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it?
If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. Are we breaking his psyche locks? This music's creepy. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on the 17th of June 10 years ago. And on that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison.
The 17th of June.
Was that the professor's execution?
Professor.
As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present through the proceedings.
It does sound familiar.
And yet, that execution never took place. The convict, ostensibly executed earlier that day, later reemerged from his grave.
The convict came back to life.
In the cemetery, in the middle of the night, there was a witness. However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments.
Yes.
Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must have known the truth about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Deep down reference. Nice one, Capcom. You remembered. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on the 17th of June 10 years ago. Now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil? What the frick's going on here?
Yes. The whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped, He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane.
What? What? Well, there's nothing there that's too crazy, was there?
Order. Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned?
My head, it's... Oh, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams. Oh my goodness. The papers. There were reports, articles about a man who'd seen a ghost.
Yes, Enoch Drebber.
But surely those reports were exaggerated.
There were traces at the scene.
Traces of what?
In Lowgate Cemetery, at plot number 139. Blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there.
The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which his tale is emerging are quite staggering.
I reviewed the police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved.
Are you suggesting that a prison warder abetted the man's bid for freedom?
Yes. Yes, and I was suspected of doing it. Of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape.
You did what?
I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me. One evening, a few days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dally. This is serious business, but I can't help you now. As chief warder, you are responsible for overseeing the execution of Foray. Well, it seems the fellas at Scotland Yard want to have a few wee words with you about it. Oh, you'd better pack your things, laddie. You're to attend in person. Can you stop that? You're actually making me dizzy.
As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank, and the next thing I knew, The professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape. I'm finished.
I knew something would happen with this window. He's trying to jump out the window.
It's over.
And he is now dead. Yeah, something about that window looked suspicious to begin with, so...
Order, bailiff, fetch a doctor at once. Court is adjourned for today with immediate effect. This man having a medical crisis to something barely related to the case.
Mr. Vigil's collapse.
Moist.
Proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Cosima, and Gregson. All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past.
What a crazy metaphor, dude.
But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Dang. That was a really good ending monologue, actually. That was really good. Well, that means we got more investigating to do tomorrow, well, for the rest of the day in game, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Good. Good, 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 good. I'm excited. So, thank you all for watching. We will see you all next time for some more. Let's play the Great Ace Attorney 2. See you then, guys. Ciao.
Yo.
Let's